when we're talking about creation, and we're getting involved in all these debates, not about if God is the creator, but how God created. And people start talking about, was it a literal 24-hour day? Was it exactly 6 24-hour days that all these things happened? When we start talking about those kind of things, no, not at all. That is not a major theme of the Bible whatsoever. It's not a major theme of Christianity either. And that might kind of strike you as being a little bit funny. Don't Christians talk about this all the time? Haven't there been tons of books written about this and movies made about this? Don't we have textbooks that are designed to make sure that everyone knows that there was a world created, a universe created in 6 24-hour days? I mean, hasn't that been a big part of Christianity? Well, it has been a big part of Christianity during our lifetime, but not so much, go back 100 years and before that, not really. And here's something that's interesting. Jesus never talked about the topic whatsoever. As Christians, we are disciples of Jesus Christ. We follow him. We follow his teachings. We are to teach his teachings and strive to reflect his teachings in our lives. And Jesus didn't think it was important enough to spend a lot of time explaining or talking or going over the details of how the creation came about. Only just important to know that the creation was from God and that he was God in the flesh. For some people, I think it's called majoring in minors. We make a big deal out of something that the Bible doesn't actually make a big deal out of. And so whereas the creation, in the sense that God is the maker of all things and the provider of all good things, is a major theme of the Bible, the creation idea about exactly how God did it and in what time frame God did it is not a major theme of the Bible at all. And that brings us all the way back to the book of Genesis. So let's go back to Genesis chapter 1 and let's talk about it a little bit. Day 1, and Genesis 1, verse 3 to 5, the Bible basically says that God created light. Day 2, Genesis 1, verse 6 to 8, essentially, God created the sky. Day 3, Genesis 1, 9 through 13, God created dry ground and seas. He separated the water from the land. Since there was some dry ground and some water, there come the plants, all on day 3. Day 4, Genesis 1, 14 and 19, the sun and the moon and the stars are created. It's very interesting because in day 1, 2, and 3, there was no sun, and yet it still says there was morning and evening on the first day, morning and evening on the second day, morning and evening on the third day. And so that should give us a little bit of hint that maybe this actually isn't talking about a 24-hour day period. Because the way we think of a day is the earth rotates, and when our part of the earth rotates into the sun, that's sunrise, and then it's morning. And when our part of the earth rotates away from the sun, that's sunset, and then we have evening. But we had 3 days in creation that it says there was morning and evening, and there was no sun. It's just something to think about. Day 5, aquatic life and birds were created. Day 6, terrestrial life and mankind. And here the Bible says that the mankind was special because it was created in the image of God. And of course, on day 7, God rested. Let's look at Genesis 2, verse 1. It says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array." This is verse 2 now. "By the 7th day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work." And so that's it. That's the creation right there. There's so much debate that has occurred amongst the Christian world about, how should we view this creation narrative? Some people strongly believe we should look at it as a historic narrative, a scientific account with a rigid timeline. And so they strongly believe this is talking about 6 24-hour days that God created the entire universe. And I just want to say, it's not impossible that that's what it's talking about. You know, God could easily create the entire universe in 6 24-hour days. He could do it in 6 milliseconds as well. So it's not impossible that that's what it's talking about, but that doesn't mean that that's actually how we should interpret this.